Okay, that's not what this is about. Let me stop playing. Hold on, let me turn it off. I'm back. What's up? How y'all been? How y'all doing? Y'all good? Good. So, I am back with another story time. I have so many of those, you guys. Like, you seriously have no idea. This story is going to be about the time that I happened to be a side chick. Ew, like, I hate that word. It's kind of like embarrassing to me, but you know, what is a message without the mess? We've all have had messy situations, messy stories, messy. I don't think that you can't grow in this life without experiencing some type of mess. So here's mine, and we're gonna get straight into it. So let's see, how did I end up being a side chick? It's complicated. This story happened within like 3 years. Like, so I'm gonna try to make it as simple and shortened as I possibly can, and hopefully it all makes sense. Okay, so this particular story happened when I was in college. It started my senior year of high school. That's where it started. So let's see, let's start there. Okay, senior year of high school, MySpace was popping, Facebook was popping, all of it was popping, and this one particular guy, of course I'm not using any names, slid into my messages. No DMs, they wasn't here yet. Messages. So I get a friend request. I accepted. At that time, I accepted everybody. There was no reason not to. So I get a message from this guy, and he's like, oh, you're so cute, are you in school yet? Do you know what school you're going to? And he's like making small talk and whatever, and I'm talking back. No big deal. I have no problem with conversating with people when I'm single, because I was single. You know, so I'm like, oh no, I don't know, I might be going to BG. And he's like, oh, that's so crazy because I go to BG. And I'm like, oh really? Like, okay, you know, that's cool, maybe we'll run into each other. Super fast forward, because that was like in the middle of the school year. So I ended up going to Bowling Green. Of course, I told you that, guys, that already. And I ended up going to BG. Let me stop messing with my hair. Let me just tell this story. Oh my god, I'm so distracted. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I ended up going to BG, and actually my freshman year, I ran into this guy. Out of all the MySpace people in the universe, or did we meet on Facebook? I can't even remember. It was either MySpace or Facebook, one of them, that he messaged me on. I think it was MySpace. So out of all the MySpace people in the world, I am heading like out of the dorm room, and I run into this guy in the stairwell. And I'm like, damn, it is a small world. Like, you know, like, that is super crazy. Like, what are the odds of me actually running into you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that must be some type of fate or something, you know? Like, how freaky weird is that? So he's like smiling. He's like, oh, it's finally nice to see you in person. You're just as pretty in person. And I'm thinking, like, for real, I wasn't really like off of his MySpace pictures. Like, I wasn't really like thinking about the guy like that. I just thought it was nice to like have conversation with him. But he actually looked better in person. So I'm like, okay, this guy is like super cute. So he's like, you should give me your number, you know, we should link up, we should hang out, and blah blah blah. Mind you, it's freshman year, I don't know anybody, I'm hanging out, you know. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So as we exchange numbers, I see him going to a dorm room literally right across from my dorm room. I'm like, well, that is super crazy. Now mind you, the way our dorms were set up, the girls were on this like one side of the hallway, and the guys were on a whole nother side of the hallway. So when he went into the room directly across from mine, he went into a female's room. Like, he went into a chick's room. So I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, you know, I hope that's not his girlfriend, because we definitely just exchanged numbers. But you know, we'll just see how it goes, because really technically I still wasn't really that like pressed, but it was just nice to like see him, you know. So I want to say I kept seeing him go over there. Like, time passed, and I kept seeing him, and I'm like, I'm not about to text him, I'm not about to, you know, talk to him. I'll just wait. Like, we'll just see what's going to happen. Like, I'm not interested, because clearly he has something going on with this girl. So I want to say sophomore year. Okay, so the whole year passed. Sophomore year, I think he hit me. He texted me. He randomly texted me, and he's like, yo, where you been at? Stop being a stranger. Yeah, that famous line, stop being a stranger. So I'm like, what you mean stop being a stranger? Like, don't you got something going on with so-and-so? And he like, man, what? No, like, no, I don't. Like, she was my tutor. Like, she was my tutor. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, so what took you a whole year to like hit up? Like, you got my number last year. And he's like, oh, you know, I don't know, like I was busy with football, I don't play football no more, blah 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 blah. He's like, so now I got more free time. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I'm like, are you sure you didn't have nothing going on, or you're not like, you don't, you know what I'm saying? He's like, no, I promise, like there's nothing going on. And I'm like, okay, so it's been a whole year, maybe this is valid, maybe, you know, he really was, who knows. But needless to say, a whole year had rolled over, so you know, I'll give it a shot. So we literally, from that text message, talked 24/7. Like, we talked nonstop on the phone, text messaging, good morning text every morning. Like, it was like super consistent, like the communication was, like it was crazy. So I'm like telling my girls about it. I'm like, yeah girl, like, you know, I think this guy's like really into me or whatever. Like, he's really consistently communicating with me on a regular basis. Like, it's nothing like it was in the beginning, like when he got my number and then he just kind of disappeared. And they're like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I'm starting to really like him, like, you know. And she's like, well, you know, take your time, you don't know, blah 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 blah. So then I finally started letting him come to my dorm room, like after class. Like, we would come over, he would come over to my dorm. Every now and then I would go over to his dorm. And we were like kicking it tough, like super tough. But one thing that I, now looking back, that I do recognize is that we never ever went outside, like outside of the dorm or his apartment. Like, it was always inside. We never was on campus together. We never went off campus together, like to get something to eat or none of that, right? But mind you, like, I'm in a college, like, you know what I'm saying, when you're in college, most people tired, they got tons of studying, homework, if they not involved in extracurricular activities. So I'm like, you know, he's a college student, like, you know, like maybe he's just really busy and he's really tired, because I'm really busy and really tired. I haven't had time to really realize that we haven't went on a real date, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, whatever. So 3 or 4 months in, we were still kicking it tough. And at this particular time, the Steve Harvey book had came out. And oh my God, when Steve Harvey came out with that damn book, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, whatever the name of it was, people just thought they had the juice. Like, everybody like, yeah girl, this is what you need to be doing, this blah 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 blah. So I'm like, yes, I got the golden ticket. I really like this guy. I'm gonna do exactly what Steve Harvey told me to do. I'm gonna wait 3 to 4 months, you know what I'm saying? Like, we, you know, I'm gonna do it the right way, because then that means that I'm doing it right and I'm gonna get the right reward at the end of it. So after 3 or 4 months, I want to say it was the 4th month, like seriously, it was like the 4th month, he asked me to come over so he could make dinner for me, and he made dinner and it was good. So I was impressed. I'm like, okay, you know, mind you, before this particular night, we did start spending the night with each other. Like, we would, you know, spend a night, hang out, whatever. Nothing happened, you know, we were just hanging out, which really made me like him, because I'm like, okay, you know, he ain't even trying nothing. I don't, you know, most guys at least try to touch you with something. I mean, most guys definitely try it, but not to say he didn't, but it was more like innocent. Like, he was cuddling and rubbing my hair and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm really liking this guy. Like, I don't know what the motive is or whatever, but you know, let's see. So I went for dinner, and then we did what we normally do. We went in his room and we watched TV, and surprisingly he definitely tried it, and that happened. You know, I don't need to get into details, that thing happened. So I'm like, okay, that was unexpected. I wasn't ready, but I let it happen, almost because I feel like I was obligated at that point, because I had been hanging out with him so tough, and you know, I guess I thought it was like the next natural thing to do, even though mentally I wasn't ready for that. So I'm like, okay, you know, now this is it. Like, now that was the level of our relationship. Never became boyfriend and girlfriend. We were never official, like none of that. Like, we were just hanging out tough and, you know, that thing. So So I'm like, this is weird. This is messing with my mental space a little bit, because I've never been in that space before. Like, what does this mean? Like, where's this going? Blah, blah, blah. So I started kind of panicking, because I'm like, I don't want to fall into this space with somebody like this, and it all means absolutely nothing. Like, I kind of need some direction. Like, where are we going with this? And so, I would talk to him a lot about it, and he's like, man, I'm just chilling. We in college. Like, why you trying to, you know, get tied down? Like, you know, you so young. It's so much to do out here. Like, you know, like, just relax. Like, chill out. And I'm like, okay, maybe he right. Like, maybe this is, like, what you do in college. Maybe, you know, like, people don't be so quick to commit because they're out partying and having fun or whatever. I don't know. You know, like, maybe I am tripping or whatever. So, that was that. Like, I never got anywhere in that situation. He pretty much told me to chill out and to stop, you know, talking to him about it, because he wasn't on it. So, mind you, for a woman, once you start doing that one thing, you kind of get more caught up and connected than you really want to. So, here I am in this space, like, oh my goodness, this guy is like this thing for me. You know, he's doing something for me nobody else ever done for me like this before. So I'm kind of like sprung. Like, let's be honest, I was super sprung. And you know, when you get in that headspace, you start getting dumb. You not thinking right. Like, you just dumb. Like, be honest about it. You just real dumb when you start dealing with somebody like that, and you're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. I'm telling you, when you haven't, oh my god, that's just a whole nother story. Just know that I wasn't ready. Okay, so boom, that happened all us the end of sophomore year. So we going to summertime, and most of us went home. We came back to Cleveland. He was from Cleveland, so we all came back to Cleveland or whatever. And I started to notice that he was acting funny. And then my friends was like, you know how guys get in the summertime, like, they want to kick it, they want to hang out. He's still young. I'm still getting this he's still young speech. Like, stop expecting so much from him. Like, he's trying to have fun, blah blah blah. So I'm like, alright, forget it. Like, let me just fall back. Like, I don't know really what to do with my emotions at this point. But since everybody acting like I'm the crazy one and I'm tripping, like, let me just, you know, tuck my little feelings in the inside. Let me start hanging out with my girls and start worrying about myself and just not care. Like, who cares or whatever. So, of course, you know, once you put that energy in the atmosphere, for some reason, guys magically sense that you don't care no more. So here he goes calling me like, what's up? I haven't seen you while you being a stranger. I'm like, what you mean? Like, you came home, you got funny acting, and honestly, I'm not ready to be chasing after somebody like that. Like, this is just too much for me. I'm overwhelmed. And he's like, no, it's not like that. Like, I had a lot going on with my grandparents, because he was living with his grandparents. He like, you should actually come through and meet them. And I'm like, really? You want me to meet your grandparents? Now, listen, not everybody met my grandparents. Like, I want to say, honestly, my grandparents probably met two serious boyfriends. Because the one was in high school, and then the other serious boyfriend was after this guy, like, after this situation happened. So they only met two people. So I'm like, you know, that is like a serious moment when you meet the grandparents. So when he said that, I'm like, oh shit, like, maybe, you know, maybe whatever he's saying is true. Like, maybe I am tripping, and now he's ready to, like, take things to the next level. And so I go over there and meet his grandparents, right? And everybody is like, oh, it's nice to meet you, and blah 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 blah. Like, we kicking back, we laughing, having a good time. Needless to say, yada yada yada. As time went on, I would every now and then go see his you know, go visit him at his grandparents' house, and we would just kick back and have fun. And of course, I'm like, okay, so I met your grandparents. What does this mean now? You know, like, what is this? And he's like, man, look, I just wanted you to meet my grandparents so you could stop tripping about what you mean to me, because I definitely care about you, and, you know, I don't want you to think that I'm playing games, because I'm serious, but I'm not ready for that yet, because that's, like, still a really huge commitment. And I'm like, all right, I can accept that. Like, that's cool or whatever. So we get back to school, and I want to say, yeah, like, when we got back to school, we start hanging out again. But this time it was a little different. I think at this point, I was just, like, exhausted. Like, it's the same old thing. We get into a routine. I'm not really feeling, like, you know, like, this is worth it at this point. Like, I can't get this guy to commit in a way that will make me feel comfortable. So I'm like, you know, I don't know, like I'm just tired of it. It's craziness, and I'm just ready for something different, something new, somebody that really wants to take that next step with me or whatever. So I went over to his apartment and I'm like, look, I can't do this no more. Like, this is just BS. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what your issue is. Like, you know, you will let me see your grandparents. You know, we hang out all the time. We talk all the time. Like, obviously you care about me and you like me, so I don't know what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm over it. He's like, oh man, you tripping. I keep trying to tell you I'm not ready yet and blah 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 blah. I'm like, look, I don't know what it is. Whatever I'm not ready yet means I don't have time for it. Like, I'm ready and you're not, so let's just stop playing games. Like, I'm over it. I feel like you're playing games with me. You stringing me along. You doing, like, every time I fall back, you like hang something in my face and like play with my emotions about it. Like, no, like, I'm over it. Mind you, emotionally, I'm super invested in this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been like a year now. Like, I'm super invested in this guy. So I called it quits. So I was telling my friends, like, you know, I'm done. I don't know what that's about. I'm done. So of course they're like, whatever, who cares? Like, you so young, you so pretty, like, you know, it's not even an issue. And I'm like, you right, let's just go out, let's party, let's turn up or whatever. And my one roommate, man, listen, this girl, we partied like so much, we had so much fun together. So this particular night, it was just me and my roommate Ashley. I'll say her name because you guys have seen her plenty of times and she doesn't, I'm sure she doesn't care. So yeah, me and Ashley went out. And we went out in Toledo, actually. So we were hanging out, we were drinking, getting drunk. Of course, that's literally our weekend's life story. That's what we did. We got drunk and partied to death. So now I'm in my feelings. I'm drunk. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I made the right decision. He really cared about me. Like, what was I thinking? Like, why would I just cut him off like that? And blah 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 blah. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you know, he's not ready for commitment. I'm like, yeah, but who cares? Like, look at me now. Like, I'm just out partying and drinking. This means absolutely nothing to me. Like, I'd rather be with him. And she's like, well, you know what, at the end of the day, it's your decision. Do what you want to do. I'm like, don't judge me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it may sound stupid, but don't judge me. I really miss him. And she's like, okay, so what you gonna
do about it? I'm like, I'm about to text him, girl. I'm about to call him and tell him I'm coming over and blah blah
blah. And she just like shaking her head like, all right, be stupid. But you know how that goes. Everybody is stupid for somebody every once in a while. So that's what I was. I was stupid. I text him like, I miss you, I'm gonna come over. He's like, all right, it's nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't trying to call it quits with you anyway. Like, so come through. I'm like, all right. So it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. My friend drops me off at his house. It took this dude at least 10 minutes. I don't know if it was the alcohol, but it made me feel like I was out there for 10 minutes. I'm like, bruh, what is this dude doing? Like, why is it taking him 10 minutes to come to the door when he already knew I was coming? So I'm like, yo, whatever. I'm not about to trip about this. Like, I text him like, look, you got 1 minute to get to this door. Like, you already knew I was coming. So he comes to the door and he like throw his
hands up like, what's up? What's the problem? I didn't even know you was out here. I fell asleep, you know, blah blah blah. I'm like, alright.
Whatever. You know, I'm already still kind of feeling like something about him ain't right, but I'm like, whatever. So we get down to his room, we talking, one thing leads to the next, and I'm just over there feeling like doo-doo shit. Let me just be honest. I feel like absolute shit. I'm like, what am I even doing here right now? Like, why did I make that decision to do that? Like, what am I on right now? Like, I seriously need to get my life together because I'm losing it. Like, I'm giving this man way more power than necessary. Like, I know who I am as a person. I know what I deserve. Why am I allowing him to give me his sloppy seconds of life? Like, what? It ain't even... I was straight tripping. So I like having this talk in my head, trying to get myself together, and he like, what's up with you? What you tripping about? I'm like, nothing. I just need to get out of here. I'm like, can you take me home? He was like, no. Did I bring you here? And I was like, what? Like, he hit me with that straight ignorant rude shit. I said, whoa, okay, I'm not ready for that side of you, but if that's how you feel, then fine. So I go into the bathroom to call my friend, like, look, this dude tripping. Like, I don't know what he on, but I need to get out of here. I'm saying this in my head because I'm calling her and she never answered the phone. Ashley never answered the phone. So I'm in the bathroom and I'm kind of just sitting there meditating and trying to like get myself together. I see a girl's comb on his counter. Mind you, he had no beard, no like long hair to comb or nothing like that. So I'm like, wow, maybe this is what I've been missing. Like the fact that he's dealing with a whole nother chick. Like that would probably make a little bit more sense or whatever. So I see the comb. I come out the bathroom like,
yo, who the comb is this? Like, you dealing with another female and you didn't tell me about it? Like, I would have never even thought about coming over here had I known you was dealing with another chick.
he like, man, I don't know, what you talking about? Let me see the comb. You know how they gotta look at it and examine the shit. So I'm like, who comb is this? Like, it's not yours. Like, you know it's not yours, so whose is it? He like, man, this is a little chick I was studying with. I said, what? I'm like, y'all was studying down in your bedroom when you have a hole upstairs with a hole, because at this point it was a condo type thing that that he was living in. So I'm like, why'd you bring her all the way down into your bedroom? Like, why can't you study in the kitchen or in the dining room or something like that? You have to bring her in your bedroom. He like, yeah, because you know niggas is loud in here, blah blah blah. I'm like, alright, I ain't feeling this. Like, everything to me just sound like straight bullshit. Like, I wasn't feeling it. So I'm like freaking out at this point. I'm like emotionally just having a complete heart attack. Emotionally having a heart attack.
I'm like crying, like, oh my god, you're such a liar. This is why you didn't want to commit. Now it all makes sense. Like, you got a whole nother chick and you didn't never tell me and blah 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 blah.
And he like, man, I don't know what you talking about, but you need to calm down. You loud, you bugging out, you gonna wake my roommates up. And I'm like, man, F everybody, I don't care. I should have never been here. I hate you. I hate this whole situation. You make me feel like shit and I shouldn't be feeling like shit. Like, I was like spazzing completely out. Like, I spazzed out so much, I think I made him sober up because he was drunk too. He was like, yeah, nah, you got to go. I'm like, good, let's go, because I'm not about to be here dealing with this dumb stuff. Like, no way am I dealing with a whole nother chick. Like, it's one thing to deal with a guy and his ways, but to deal with a female too, oh hell no. I was like, I gotta go. So he like, man, whatever. He was like, and when you leave this time, don't come back. And I'm like, bro, you listen, don't even worry about it. Don't ever worry about me trying to feel. Come on, yo, you making me feel like shit. You ain't gotta worry about that. So anyway, as we get into the car, I'm sitting there letting all of this kind of like sink in. Like, this really just happened. Like, this guy really just made me feel like absolute boo-boo, and he didn't care. Like, he didn't try to console me. He didn't try to make me feel better about it. He just like, you crazy, get out and don't come back. And I'm like, wow. Like, in that moment, I pretty much understood what I meant to him, like who I was to him. Like, he didn't care. Like, he did not care about me as a person at all. So I'm like, okay, this is like a blow to my gut, my self-esteem, my mentality, my everything that I believed in. Like, I was completely devastated. So as I'm sitting there, I'm like bawling my eyes out, like gut crying, like, how the frick did I end up in this dumb ass situation? So as I'm crying, this guy turns his radio all the way up. All the way up. Sky high. So he couldn't hear me crying. Yo, I'm like, there's no way I've been dealing with this type of person and didn't know it for almost 2 years. Like, how did I not know? Like, what happened? And so as I'm trying to get out the car, he's like, so I can't get no hug. I'm like, what? Is this nigga, is he serious? Like, the level of disrespect, it was just out of this world. Like, he was so disrespectful. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me you're gonna blast your music over my tears and then you're gonna ask me for a hug like you don't give two shits? I'm like, bruh, this has to be some type of freaky ass nightmare. Excuse my cousin, but this is literally the anger and the disappointment that I felt in this moment. It was crazy. So I get out the car, I slam the door, and we lived like 3 flights up. Like, as I'm trying to walk up the stairs, my knees literally buckled. And I guess in this moment, it was so devastating because I really believed that this dude liked me. Like, I really, really believed that despite all of the other red flags, the emotional connection I thought we had, like where he was talking to me all day, every day, he would text me consistently, but his actions didn't add up. And for some reason, I allowed myself to let that go because of the physical part of it. Like, physically we were doing things, and so I had to be okay with the other things not connecting. So I allowed myself to be in this space, and I couldn't blame nobody but myself. So at that point, I was just so disappointed in myself. Like, how could you allow yourself to be in this moment? Like, what were you doing? So as I'm bent over on the stairs, I'm literally like crying my heart out. I'm saying prayers to God, like, you know, I'm so humiliated, I'm so embarrassed, like, just forgive me for allowing myself to be so stupid. Like, I was so dumb. And so as I get myself together, I'm in the house and I'm just like in disbelief. My friend, like, the next day, they was like, what happened? I'm like, Ashley, I'm gonna punch you in your forehead because I called you repeatedly and you didn't answer. She was like, what? I was drunk, I fell asleep. She was like, you shouldn't have went over there in the first place. She was right. I can't get mad. So I'm like, you right, whatever. So I told them what happened. They was kind of like, that was a little shocked, but not too much shocked because he was so inconsistent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even when we was on, it was like heavy, but it was like on and off so much. Like, they were just like, I mean, that kind of makes sense because, you know, he was so inconsistent. And I'm like, yeah, man, I just can't believe that he felt like he can say those things and you could kind of dismiss me like that. Like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I must not have carried myself with too much respect for him to feel like disrespecting me was so okay. And they were like, well, I kind of hope you learned your lesson and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, believe me, you know, I learned my lesson. You know, you can't just allow yourself to fall so blindly for people that's showing you who they really are. Like, you can't, because of physical things, or, you know, because you're lonely or you bored and you like the thought of being with somebody, like, you can't allow yourself to fall into a space that's so blinding that you can't see things that are right in front of your face. So anyway, I called my brother and I'm like telling him, and he was like, damn, that's crazy. And the only reason I called my brother is because before me and him even got this far, I was asking my brother, like, so do you think this guy like me? Am I being dumb? And he was like, well, you know, just wait it out. You can't really tell right now. You have to just see where things are going. So I felt like it was only right that I told him, like, this ended really terribly, and you know, I'm kind of disappointed. And he's like, I was still crying, like, at this point, like, basically giving me this huge encouragement, like, don't worry, you know, you're a good person, so just keep being good and keep doing you, and good things that happen. Don't worry about him. He'll have to deal with what he did to you at a later date, so don't worry about that. Just keep going forward and just let it go. You know, don't try to fix it. You already got all the information you needed. Don't try to make sense of it. Just pick yourself up and keep moving. And I'm like, damn, that was a good, like, motivational speech for the moment, because I literally felt low as the freaking ground, and I definitely felt like I wanted answers to know why somebody felt like they had to treat me like that when they could have just told me the truth or whatever. So anyway, I think that night the guy actually ended up calling me, like, a lot, like calling me, like, and I just kept ignoring him because I literally, once again, put that energy out into the atmosphere that I was done. Like, I didn't care. Like, I wouldn't allow somebody to disrespect me so much and feel like it's okay. Like, to answer the phone or to reply to this guy would be like, oh yeah, it's okay that you made me feel like shit last night and that I felt like my dignity was being ripped out of my butt. Like, yeah, sure, why not? Nah. So I pretty much was like done with it. Like, I didn't deal with the situation at all. Like, yeah, I pretty much like made him to the point where he didn't exist anymore, you know, because I was hurt and I didn't deserve it. So I was like, forget it. Now, fast forward. You would think that I figured I was the side chick once I saw the comb, but that's not why I came to the super conclusion that I was the side chick. So, of course, curiosity gets to the cat, and now this wasn't right after, because I wasn't ready for this right after. This was like some months later that I went onto his Facebook page, and was like trying to figure out like if I could see what this girl looked like. Like, you know, you always like, so what she look like, or what's going on, what she got that I ain't got. You know, that's just nature of the beast. You want to know. So I went to his Facebook page, and lo and behold, he was tagged in a picture, and in the under the picture it said, "I love my baby, going 4 years strong." I said, oh my God, what? Going 4 years strong? You know, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, like four years. I said, now wait a minute. Me and this guy fell out a few months ago. Like a few months ago. Maybe 3 or 4 months ago. She said 4 years strong. So I'm like, yo, this is absolutely bananas. I call my girls into the room. I'm like, bruh, somebody come look at this. I'm like, please read that caption. And they was like, man, ain't no way. I'm like, how could he have had a girlfriend for 4 years? I mean, like, he was inconsistent, but damn, he wasn't that damn inconsistent not to have a whole girlfriend. I'm like, yo, this is getting crazier and crazier by the second. And they were like, dude, this guy had a whole girlfriend. And she went to school close to us. She didn't go to the same school as us, but she went to a school nearby us. Close enough where he shouldn't have been able to pull that off. Because in the beginning, like, when me and him was like super tough, like we saw each other every day, talked on the phone every day. Like, how you that cold with it though? Like, how you that smooth with it? So let's go way back. When he kept saying, this is a huge commitment, I'm not ready for this, just relax, we young, have fun, and blah 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 blah, he had a girlfriend. That was the reason behind all of his excuses. Like, when a man is making excuses for something you know should be a part of the situation, a part of the equation, and he's constantly giving you reasons why not, instead of just showing you why he can, it's for a really good reason. Even though you don't know it right away and you can't tell what's going on for real until later on or whatever, trust that gut feeling that something ain't right. So that is how I found out I was this dude's side chick. For almost 2 years, I was his side chick. And he played that game so good. He did a good job at that. And the only reason I think he was so good at it is because we was in college. And when you're in college, you don't really have time to be checking. You lucky enough to get up and get to class on time and to work on time. Like, it's so much going on while you're in school. Not to say that that gives you an excuse of allowing yourself to be fooled, because sometimes you really have to just be like, chick, stop playing. You already know. Stop being stupid. You get it. But I'm just saying that it kind of like, you know, slips past you a little bit. Like, that wouldn't happen in after college situation, because I would have went way more on my P's and Q's. So yeah, I got. I was lied to, I was bamboozled, I was hoodwinked for 2 years. I even met this man's grandparents. And I don't know if this is just my side of the story. Like, I don't know what the true story. You know, it's always 3 sides to the story. My side, his side, and then it's the truth. All I can offer you is my side of the story. And my side of the story is, that was real fishy. Because when he introduced me to his grandparents, I pretty much figured that he was good to go. Like, there's no way your grandparents is going to allow you to bring a whole nother chick to the house when they know you got a girlfriend. Right? Because they should know the girlfriend, right? Anyway, that's how I would think about it. So anyway, needless to say, I was side chick. And being side chick was very painful in the process. I don't see why women glorify being a side chick, because it's almost like you say you okay with being second. You okay with somebody giving you their sloppy seconds. Like, you put yourself at a level that's not respectable. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that moment when I realized that I didn't mean that much that I got, I felt so disrespected. I was so humiliated because I think so highly of myself. I would never allow a man to treat me like that and be aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So when his true colors came out, when that alcohol got the best of him, he let it all out, baby. So anyway, I could go on and on and on about this side chick story. I think I'm gonna make another video about all the lessons that I learned from being a side chick. Not willingly being a side chick, but needless to say, I was a side chick. You know, I accepted that he didn't want to commit. I accepted his inconsistencies. I accepted a lot of his bullshit. So yeah, I was a side chick, and that was a hard ass pill to swallow. It really was. I am not gonna lie. But anyway, what is a message without the mess? I gotta tell y'all that. Like, I got a lot of mess, you know what I'm saying? Like, past mess, some mess now still going on. It ain't about that kind of stuff, but you know, just life. It gets messy. So I had to share it. And I'm probably gonna make another video, like I said, about the lessons I learned from this, because this was like a huge chunk of my life. This situation right here taught me so much, not only about people, but about myself and what I allow as a person to happen to me. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my side chick story. It may not have been what you guys thought. Like, anyway, thank you for listening. Don't forget to live life your way. I'm living mine's KB'sWay, and I will be back. Deuces.